at one point I was taking like 3,000 of them a month. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm here today, because if you really, like, most people get like 90 of them a month when they're
Hmm.
prescribed them. I was taking 3,000 of them almost at one point.
Welcome back to Healthier Me. Today's guest is someone whose story proves that healing isn't linear and purpose come from the most painful places. Ryan Lee is the creator of Breaking News 989, a social media platform that has grown into a community news source, reaching tens of thousands of people across the city. But behind the camera lens is a journey that started at birth. Born with a rare genetic disorder that brought years of chronic pain that led to an addiction. Now 6 years sober, Ryan is living with intention, raising his girls, serving his city, and using his platform to amplify stories that matter. Ryan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited about this conversation. As I was saying off camera, I'm like, I came across this on Facebook, and I just remember you posting about a little bit about your history and going through some mental health challenges and addiction. And I said, okay, I need him for Be Well Saginaw Healthier Me. So I'm so happy that you're here.
Well, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. You've built such a powerful platform. When you say?
Yeah, I definitely, it's got bigger than I thought it would be.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like planned. It was just kind of unplanned.
Yeah. What do you think people misunderstand most about your mission and your why?
Um, I think some people don't understand s- how I guess I put it out there. So it's not like the regular news where it's scripted. Everybody knows what to say beforehand. It's kind of as it happens. Sometimes I don't know what's going on. A lot of times I'm kind of like everybody else. I'm trying to figure out what is happening, but I try to give everybody accurate information. And sometimes it is tragic situations. I wish I covered everything positive, but unfortunately, reality is there's a lot of things that happen, good and bad. So I definitely want to share, everybody that information and as it, comes out.
Yeah, definitely. So, given that, we're going to dive more into the platform too, because I do have questions around it. The fact that
Okay.
my background's in public relation and marketing. So, I'm always excited to hear about people who are content creators, they're on social media. So, I'll have
Okay.
some more questions towards the end. But what made you say yes to being here today? Outside of
um
me just reaching out to you, but what made you decide to
um
say yes?
I just kind of thought about it. I know others kind of want to, you know dig into other people and kind of understand, so I figured this is a way that I can kind of share to everybody else, and also maybe help promote your platform. And also, I'm all about collaboration with everybody else. Everybody else, I want to do good. And so I think that's all about kind of like just community helping each other. If somebody needs help, definitely help them in any way you can.
Definitely. So, how would you describe who Ryan is today? Outside of Breaking News 99, outside of all of the headlines or whatever, how would you describe yourself today?
I'm just a, overall fun person. I like to be around my kids. That's like my, main, uh, I guess, part of my life, my world, I guess you could say. So I have three daughters. They are younger. My oldest is 13, and I have a 10-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old. And, uh, I've been called the fun dad. So I'm the one that likes to do, the fun stuff with them. So we'll go down the water slides, even though, I'm terrified. I'm sitting there panicking, like, oh, I hope this ride closes. I'm not the heights person. So I do a lot of stuff together, but I'm also, afraid. I just try not to show it to them so that way they can push, and help them direct them in the right directions. I've had a lot of opportunities to, that I never thought I would have. So, like, I had my daughter shadow with the Saginaw County judge multiple times just to have her understand that, whether she, chooses that route or not. But I've had her do that multiple times and got a lot of opportunities out there that I never had the opportunity to have. So I
Mhm.
definitely utilize anything to give them a better, direction, and, let them make their own choices in life and things that I really couldn't do.
Yeah. I love the way you love your daughters. I mean, sometimes I'll ask people to send their bios in and, just to get a feel of who they are. And I can tell that was very much your why, like almost the reason why you're breathing, right? Or at
Yeah.
least that's what it came across to me when I was reading it. So I love what you said in your bio. You stated that you're here for your girls, you're here for your city, and you're not done yet. So what does that statement mean to you?
So I like to give back. I wish I could do more for my community, and that could be a variety of things from just telling somebody to have a good day to, help them, give them advice that I've been through, of maybe they're in a bad direction, maybe they're down the wrong path, maybe they got bad advice. I like to give people my experience because I want to possibly help them change the direction if they're going in the wrong direction, or if I can help somebody, eat at their next meal, or just anything possibly to help somebody up. I've seen people fall. I fell myself multiple times, and I see other people fall. And don't matter how many times you fall, you can always get back up. You can always change your life. People that are not in the right direction could be world leaders. They could cure cancer. You never know. So a lot of people don't realize that the person that they're judging could actually change the world. And that's what I'm about.
Yes, that's good. Uh, we've had just so many different guests on this season, and what you're saying is so true. I've in this platform right now, I've met some people who have had and struggle with addiction, and to see the turnaround in their life is completely amazing. And they say similar things. It's not we don't want to be judged. Help
Right.
us. We just need help. So, talk to me a little bit about your genetic disorder. Um, I was so curious. I had to go and Google it because I had never heard of it. But it's osteogenesis. Is it osteogenesis
So
imperfecta?
it's osteogenesis imperfecta.
Genesis. Okay.
So it is a rare bone disease. There's not many people in the world that have it.
Mm.
It is genetics. You get it from one of your parents, and it pretty much makes your bones not as strong as everybody else's. So there's not a cure for it. They have things that they're testing, but there's not really any way. There's people that have it way worse than me. There's people that can't even walk because they'll break their bones. So it really depends on. There's different types of levels.
Mhm.
Mine, I don't know what level mine is, but I've broken my femur 3 times. So that's one of the strongest bones in your body.
Yeah.
I did a roller skating every time, but
You were
uh,
roller skating every
yes,
time?
yep, and I still roller skate. I actually taught all 3 of my daughters to skate, so I'm just a little more careful.
Okay.
But
Oh
yeah,
my
it
gosh. Wow.
like a doctor told me I couldn't skate again, and I'm kind of the hard headed person that's like, we'll see about that. So I don't let stuff stop me, and unfortunately, the third time, that's kind of how I got addicted. The doctors kind of gave me, a lot of different pain pills, and I don't know, say they did it intentionally, but it kind of got me where I relied on them. So instead of pain, I was just
Mhm.
taking them to kind of survive, honestly. And it got to the point where I was taking so many that I needed to get them from other people. So I literally had a calendar of when everybody had them just to purchase them. That's how addicted I was. And at one point, I was taking like 3,000 of them a month. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm here today, because if you really, like, most people get like 90 of them a month when they're
Mhm.
prescribed them. I was taking 3,000 of them almost at one point.
And what pain medication was that?
Vicodin. So
Vicodin.
that's what
Okay.
I got different kinds. That's the one I really got hooked on. And I probably got hooked on them for about 10, maybe 15 years. And it got to the point where, I didn't let it control my life, I guess you could say. Like, I lived, I worked a job. I actually ran my own business previously that I had. So I didn't really show that I was addicted. Took care of my kids, my family. But, personally, I was struggling. I needed it to survive. If I didn't have it every day, I literally couldn't get out of bed. And that's how bad it was. And it really was my downfall because made a lot of bad choices. And honestly, jail was the best thing that happened to me, even though it was the hardest time of my life. And really it wasn't losing, my house, my business, my, personal assets. It was more about not being able to see my kids.
Mm.
My kids tell me on the phone like why I wouldn't come home. So that was hard, because I couldn't answer it for them. I didn't want to tell them. Kind of the first time I lied to them, I guess you could say, because I didn't want them to say, hey, like I'm in jail. But
So was the action of you taking the pain medication led to the jail time?
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Because I ended up going into my neighbor's house and taking 10 Vicodin pills. So I literally, broke into her house and took 10 pills. I mean, they
Mm.
had lots of cash, lots of other stuff, but it was just that what I needed is that's how bad I
Mm.
was addicted. And, reflecting like being in jail kind of made me realize like a lot of important stuff that I didn't think about in life. So, for example, just being outside, fresh air, like I was in there 325-ish days, just having that fresh air, the grass on the ground, little
Yeah.
things that you just realize are like, wow. So, I kind of, in essence, glad it happened. It sucks my kids had to kind of take the hard part of it.
Mm.
Mainly my oldest, she probably took it the hardest because she understood it a little more versus my younger kids. They
Mhm.
didn't really understand it. But if it didn't happen, I wouldn't probably be here. So, in a way, it probably was the best thing that happened to me.
But I guess what I'm struggling with is, when you hear about people who have addiction, it's usually it comes from some, abandonment issues or something that maybe sparked in childhood. Yours is literally a medical condition. So what are doctors in a sense getting wrong? Like how should they treat someone with a condition like that where it's causing you pain?
So I think like when I started, I think they didn't know fully about addiction. I
Mm.
think it wasn't really fully understood. So a lot of the doctors I think were given that to in essence help people. And then I had such a, you know, easy, I guess you could say, problem that it was easy to get access to it. So like a typical person probably wouldn't be able to get, multiple prescriptions of pain pills, but due to my condition, I kind of took advantage of that. So
Mm.
I think that, was this kind of situation that it was easier. But I think over the years they started to realize an addiction was caused from this, and it created other problems. And unfortunately, millions of people got addicted to them, and
Yeah.
could be all walks of life.
So is there something that is it a lower dose now that you're using as far as medication? Are you even on medication at this point for
No,
your
actually, I
condition?
don't take anything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I surprisingly, I just kind of am active. I
Mm.
work out once in a while, and I just kind of stay more healthy. I think, I used to smoke, marijuana. I don't do anything now. I just kind of live, I guess you could say. So,
Yeah. So how
um,
does that shift though? Like what do you think changed in you that now that you don't need it? Like
um,
what was the shift? I mean, outside of being incarcerated, do you think something else shifted inside of you?
so I think I didn't really need it after a period of time. I think maybe for a short term time I needed it, but I
Okay.
think mentally it was I think I thought I had to have it, and I really didn't. I
Mm.
think it was just more mentally like I got well like, hey, this solves my problem. This makes me, not in pain. So I think it was like a false sense almost, I guess you could say.
Oh. So you do the jail time. Was there any other things that you were using as far as like resources? Did you connect with any therapist or did you go to therapy? What did you do to better yourself even more?
So yeah, I did do like some classes and stuff. Like even before I got locked up, I tried to go to like dot carrying centers
Mm.
and tried to, I did get clean for a little short time period, but then somehow I fell back into it. So I never fully got out. I think for me, like the time I spent in there and the time to sit around and reflect on myself, I think that's what I needed because before I never really had time to sit and actually sit outside the box and look at myself and realize like I put myself in this situation. I can't blame anybody else, for it. I could point the finger and lie and say other people did it, but honestly it was myself. So I realized like once I get out of this, if I get out of it, there's one person that's decided my fate, the judge. He's either going to give me another chance or not. And going to court and them giving me a $300,000 cash bond, I was like, I'm not getting out of here. So I'm like, I just realized, like, I'm gonna take this opportunity to kind of put a plan together. And my plan was like, how can I overcome this part that I've struggled with for so long. And I've had tests, like when I got out of jail, I stayed at my grandmother's house, and actually I was cleaning her room, and pain pills were there. And so
Mm.
I thought about it, and I was like, man, if I keep these around, I'll probably find a reason to take them. So I flushed them down the toilet. And like that moment there, it kind of made me realize, like, I'm on the right path. Can't fully say I was like over it, but after the years of kind of being clean, it was like, what did I need that for?
Mm.
All it did is put me in bad directions, made bad choices, and cost me more than I could, ever get back. And money wasn't even that. I mean, obviously everybody wants money, but it was like time away from my kids. I lost my daughter was just born,
Mm.
um, when I went to jail. So I lost the first year of her life, and I can't get that back.
Yeah.
So I built that trust with my kids, because I felt like for, a good year or two, they kind of were scared that I was going to go away again and just be away from them.
Mhm.
And I don't want to do that to them again. So I just kind of did everything I could possibly do to keep myself busy. So
Yeah.
I just would overcome it. And now, like, I reflect, it's like I don't even get like a temptation of like doing anything. I'm just like, I kind of say like, yeah, that's pretty foolish of me to, even go down that route.
That is wow. So much in that. And also what came to my mind as you were talking, it made me think about the children's mom. So did she see you struggling with that addiction? Were you able to maybe like heal the relationship between you two as far as that goes?
So she knew I was addicted. She obviously was against it. So she was the person that, kind of the main reason I kind of liked her, is she didn't do drugs. She didn't smoke weed. She didn't do any of that stuff. So that was like a positive thing. And so she was against me being addicted. She obviously couldn't fix it or change it. And then I think, me and her were not getting along. And I think that added to the stress of everything I was going through. So I kind of drowned the pain, you could say, with addiction. Unfortunately, that was the downfall. Me and her clashed more than you could say before I went to jail. So, um,
Have you guys
yeah.
been able to heal mend it now,
Um, mm,
raising three
I mean,
beautiful girls?
we've spoken, we've sat down. I don't know if it'll ever. I'm fine on my end. Like, I, accepted, mistakes I've made.
Mhm.
I can't, fix it. We were together 14 years, so we were together a very long time. And, I realized I wanted to amend things, not just for, you know, her sake and our sake. I wanted to do it for the kids,
Yeah.
because I realized, like, the kids see a lot of that, whether we do it in front of them or not. And so that might affect their future relationships. So I
Mhm.
wanted to try to fix that animosity and, pain that was there. And, we're definitely not perfect. We're a little more better than we were.
Mhm.
It's taken some years. I hope things get better, but I know there's a lot of pain there. And like I said to her, I can't take things back. I did can't take,
Yeah.
everything that happened, but all I can do is move forward. And I always hope for the best and hope people do good, and don't realize, like, I wish the worst on people just because bad things happen.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope for people's success, because in the end of the day, everybody should, be able to make it through whatever they're going through. And
Yeah. And we're all struggling with something. There's just in
yeah,
every case, but just thinking about your daughters and everything, I'm sure hoping for the healing to happen, on that end. So just was thinking about her as well. But
yeah.
now that you're in this sober space, what things are you doing now? What resources, what people are you are you around now that's helping you to stay in this space?
Honestly, the best thing for me was just to stick to myself. Like a
Mhm.
lot of the people that I associated with, I think were the reason that um, I thought it was more acceptable. So like people were doing similar things, and I don't judge anybody. If people want to do whatever they want to do, that's their choice. I don't want to be the person to say, hey, that's the worst thing in the world because I did it.
Yeah.
But I just realized just to associate with myself because when I was in jail, there was nobody there for me. I literally struggled. I lost like 35 pounds in there. So just to survive, to eat was hard. They give you the bare minimum. I didn't have
Mhm.
people giving me commissary, so um, it definitely was hard. And I realized like the only people that were there for me was like my mom and my family, and just that phone call with my kids for 15 minutes, and $20 a phone call made me appreciate a lot. So when
That's
you hear you got one
expensive.
minute left and
Wow.
and the call disconnects, you're like, man, it felt like a
Wow.
matter of seconds. And so like I stick to myself and
Mm.
associate people that I know are going in the right direction. And it's not that I want to judge anybody, but I want to surround myself with good positive vibes. That's why, I'm not a person that's negative. I've always been the kind of upkeeping person where I want to be positive. We can crash my car and I'm just like I'm gonna think of the positive thing, like, hey, we're all
We're
walking
good.
away.
Yeah, I got
My
you.
car's totaled. It might be covered, it might not be, but hey, so that's how I think of life is just to reflect on anything that is good, because I mean, it doesn't fix anything if you're like, oh, I just ruined my car, whatever the situation
Yeah.
is. So it's like
You're half a glass half full person.
yes, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So just got to stay positive in life, and not every day is going to be good. Every day you might have a horrible one, you might have a
Yeah.
good positive one, but you know, y- tomorrow is always another day to start over if it didn't go good today. And that's
Mm.
how I always feel.
I love it, and I love what you're sharing because just thinking about your experience in jail, it sounded like there was this really or this massive inner work that you did, like this inner journey, was able to reflect, talk to yourself, talk maybe with God or having your faith, and it's just like now you came out just a new person. So I
Yeah.
just that's what I see is like this new person came out of those doors.
Yeah, I would say for sure,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of times that I'm the kind of person that likes to throw the match on the fire and add to the you know drama, I guess you could say. Now I realized I don't want to go that route, so
Mhm.
I definitely reflect on a lot of stuff, because you just kind of got to let things, there might be people that like you or not like you. Just hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not out here to make everybody happy.
We can't.
So we can't,
Yeah, we
so it,
can't.
it only kind of hurts yourself when you try to expect everybody to be, happy for you, or clapping for you. So
Yeah.
clap for them and hope for the best.
Yep. This episode is brought to you by the Saginaw County Health Department, delivering groundbreaking work in community health transformation and collaborating with Be Well Saginaw partners to make Saginaw one of Michigan's top 25 healthiest communities. Learn more at saginawpublichealth.org. So, in the middle of your healing, you've really turned into, or you've opened up in this social media world. Like, you're out. Would you consider yourself a content creator now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so.
I always look up the definition of that, and I guess people, I do kind of, yeah, I guess I could say I'm a content creator.
Yeah. So, but okay, so I was very fascinated because all I knew was about the breaking news, but you had a, a, a page before that. And what was it? Fun things to do in Michigan?
Yep. So I have a page right now.
Okay.
I don't post on there too often. I just don't have time. But
Mm.
it's called Fun Things to Do in Michigan. I have like 110,000 people that are joined on there. I kind of created it because of kind of what I experiences when I was younger. So like my mom was a single ma. My dad wasn't around very much. So we didn't have a lot of money to do things. So my idea was to find fun events, like free or low cost, for families to experience fun, because everybody needs a break. Everybody needs to get out.
Yeah.
So I kind of just found a lot of different activities, free events, and put it out there. And it just kind of blew up where people were, liking it and
Mhm.
attending like these events. So
So, did you also do that because as a dad, it's like you were trying to figure out ways to, find fun and joy with your daughters? Was
yeah,
that
so
a
like, yep,
reason?
we did it too. So like we would go out there and go to these events too. So it
Mhm.
was like a way for families, even like ourselves, to go out and enjoy a good time and may not
Yeah.
have to spend any money because not everybody has a lot of money. You go to some of these places, it's $100, $200. People don't have that kind of money. It's people are struggling. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you can get out and enjoy yourself, that really takes a lot of the stress and burden off people.
Yeah. So how did it evolve to breaking news? How did you jump from fun things to do in Michigan to now breaking news?
Um, So I just kind of started out doing aerial photography, and I just kind of went out and started just taking aerials of Saginaw and surrounding areas. And then I don't really know what got me to do it. I think I was at a crime scene and I just started kind of covering that. It wasn't like intentional.
Mm.
And it just kinda I've always been interested in crime and, like, why people do crime. It's always kinda I'm the person that likes to watch the crime movies,
Yeah.
and so it always interests me, like, why people do certain things, and then so I covered a crime scene, and then, I don't know, I guess I just kind of went with it, and, I realized there's a lot of things that happen, and I don't think it's just Saginaw. People think like Saginaw's the worst. It's not. I never feel any danger in Saginaw. Saginaw, there's so many positive, good people. It's just unfortunate situations happen. Sometimes people just make quick decisions, and
Mm.
sometimes they're very horrible. But I just kind of started covering things and covering more, and I just kind of went with it, I guess you could say.
Mm.
And I realized like a lot of people relied on me for information what's going on, and people all walks of life, younger, older,
Mhm.
different areas that were starting to follow me, and I kind of wanted to get out accurate information because I felt like there was a lack of it in our community. So I kind of
So, like, do you consider yourself? I mean, I know I said content creator too, but do you consider this to be a form of like journalism as well for you, where
yes,
you're?
yeah. So like I feel like it's me kind of taking my First Amendment right for freedom of press.
Mm.
And, when I first started doing it, a lot of the police departments were not so uh, acceptable, you could say. They kind of pushed me away or they didn't want me to be there. And, so I
Mhm.
pushed back a little bit, I'll be honest. I wasn't the most uh, acceptable, I guess, or I don't know what you would say, but I kind of, they pushed me, I pushed back a little bit. And
Mm.
unfortunately, I got arrested on one of my lives when I was covering something.
Really?
Yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
yeah, I had a couple thousand people on my live when I got arrested, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just recording on a public sidewalk,
Mhm.
and so they ended up, releasing me. They gave me a criminal ticket, and I took it to trial, and the Saginaw prosecutor's office refused to prosecute. They said I was doing a First Amendment protected activity,
Mm.
and so I just continued. And then I realized, as I went to more situations and more things that were going on, I realized the police and the various first responders, they deal with a lot. They see this nonstop and it's got to be hard mentally. So I realized like
Yeah.
I'm just going to be there, stay out of the way, and just report what's going on
Mm.
and not be a burden, on people. Not like if they ask me to back up, I back up and
So
give
doing it
everybody.
with respect.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because I realize they deal with a lot. It mentally, like even for myself, it's a lot to see, people that have been shot, people that have been, hit by a car.
Mhm.
It's a lot of tragic situations. So mentally, it does. I don't know these people, but I see the families come there, and they're crying. They, are
Yeah.
dealing with the most tragic situation in their life, and it's definitely hard to take that in as a person. And I don't know these people, but I feel for them, and
Mm.
I uh I can't, fix the situation. I can't change it, but um I just I share these people's stories and I take, it with me too. So I feel for them.
It seems like a lot, like like you said, mentally, just to see that. Is there? Do you find any like criticism on the fact that maybe you're covering or shooting the footage while there's an active scene happening? Like, are you getting any criticism
Yeah,
about
so
that?
I've definitely had, people that it goes both ways. There's people that are for it and against it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a lot of tragic situations that have happened. Um, I don't try to make it harder for anybody. I just report it out there. I'm respectable. I don't post like pictures or videos of tragic situations.
Okay.
I might post a vehicle that was in a crash, but I would never post
The
somebody else.
person.
Yeah, person.
Okay.
So I learned as a respect for myself, even though I see it, I wouldn't show it to other people.
Okay.
And I do wait for the police departments to release an update on what occurred. Um, I don't release like names and stuff until they provide me that, because they usually will contact the families and set situations. And
That's one thing that I do hate. So coming from a military background, I would have to write like press releases, and they would give you these like training opportunities where it's like you're putting out this situation happened. Maybe it was this number of deaths, but there's a timeline on when you can release names. And so I was kind of curious about that too. Is do you do that before the police or medical team put that out there? But it sounds like you wait until they
yeah,
provide those updates.
the only thing I would reveal is if maybe they say like a sex, so male or female,
Mhm.
or maybe a child was involved. I might say something similar to that, but I don't reveal any really identifying information. The only thing I kind of reveal instantly is like if a kid's missing, if a kid's found.
Mhm.
Some of that stuff I don't really wait for, because I feel like it's critical.
Yeah.
And there's been a
I
lot of
agree.
kids that have been lost, have been missing, that have been found, from my page, and shared to tons of people. And
Mhm.
I know if my self was in that situation, I'd probably be out until my kid was found. So
I agree.
I feel like if I can help in any way, let's definitely do it. And community shares it to other people that might find somebody's uh, child or adult or whoever it's happening to.
I'm kind of curious. So one guest who was on the show mentioned or discussed addiction, and she stated that everybody has their own addictions, whether you're glued to your phone or your food and all the things, right? So, given that you went through the earlier years struggling with an addiction of prescription medication, do you feel that you traded that with social media now? Because you're on it, like you're at work 9 to 5 almost, and then you're doing this almost full time. Like I've seen clips and you're out at night at 9, 10 o'clock. So do you think there was a trade-off here?
So how I kind of take it is the real reason I created the platforms, and really the initial when I created the fun things to do, was I was going through a lot myself. So fighting through the courts to get time with my kids,
Mhm.
it was a battle, and it still is a battle to this day. I get real limited time. I got a lot more than I did have, but they were trying to give me 1 hour every 2 weeks with my kids. And it was supervised, which I understand everything that happened. That was fine. I didn't care
Yeah.
about that. But it was the 1 hour. Like, I told the judge, like, hey, how do you spend 1 hour with three kids? And kind of
Mhm.
after time, he did realize, like, that's not a lot of time. And he gave me more. And I kind of, I was kind of getting depressed and beating myself up. Like, I probably spent thousands of hours researching court, rulings, different court. I would sit in the courtrooms to try to learn every situation to try to, I guess, win, you could say. And I don't really
Mhm.
consider it a win, because I don't think in a custody battle anybody wins, the mother or the father. I think the kids
Yeah.
lose the most. So
Yes, I agree. I
my
agree.
goal was to try to get more time with my kids, and how I could figure out how to do that. And, at the time, getting out of jail, I didn't have money to hire a lawyer. So I kind of just studied the law. I filed motions, I went to court hundreds of times, and, I got to the point where they said, like, they're going to charge me for filing so many motions, So, eventually I did hire a lawyer. I did get a little more, um, better with a lawyer, but I did do stuff myself. But instead of creating myself, because I felt like I could even go back down to the addiction path because it was hard. I was definitely staying up all day and night. I couldn't sleep because I couldn't see my kids. I mean,
Mm.
it's kind of hard to not be able to know what's going on with your kids. I never was in a situation where we were separated. So two households and then limited time. I wanted to kind of know what was going on with them.
That's a huge life shift.
So yeah, definitely. So I was like, I'm gonna change my path of constantly thinking about a situation I couldn't change to doing something to occupy myself. So I kind of got a job, and then I realized like, hey, I still have all this time to think about it, reflect on it. I kind of use that as a way to shift
Mhm.
depression and just dwelling on it. And then over time I realized like, hey, this is what it is. If I get more, that's totally awesome. But I can't,
Well,
unfortunately, I'm
control
not.
what you can control.
Yeah, and I felt like my personal view was I feel like the courts kind of side the mother's side, and I can't say that's 100% accurate, but that's how I felt because I've been in hundreds of court cases where I felt like they were the upper hand and they got more, and I felt like it should be equal. Nobody should get, I wouldn't try to take away time from her, just like I would hope the same on my side, but it kind of is what it is.
Mm.
I'm glad I get more time, so in the summer I can be a dad. I get my dad or my kids to be a dad 7 days on and off with her
Yeah.
during the school time. It's every other weekend, but it is what it is, and I just kind of roll with it. And we have as much fun as we can in our limited time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've definitely been occupying your time though. And
Right.
it sounds like it's working well for you. It sounds like it's going well. What do you foresee breaking news developing into in the future?
So I hope to turn it into like a major news station. That would be my goal.
Okay.
Maybe I wouldn't have to actually work my 9 to 5 because I'm like you. I have to work a 9 to 5 job. So
Yes.
people think like I got this glamorous life where I don't have to work. No, I'm like everybody else. I have to go to a job. I have to be there
Yeah.
and punch in and out, or I can't pay my bills. So eventually, I hope to be able to, quit my job and do it full time and also maybe hire people. That would be my goal, whether it happens or not. It's faith is really the only thing that'll determine that. So,
Yes.
I like giving people accurate information. So that is like something that I've, you know, been a believer on. Unfortunately, I follow the scanner, so a lot of stuff that I report is from the scanner, and there's a lot of times that information is inaccurate. There's been reports of people being shot when there's nobody been shot.
Mm.
So I do always like to update as soon as I find out, um, because people want to know what's going on. I'm kind of the same way. I'm sure everybody wants to know what's going on in their community. There's been some horrible reported information of like people armed in the Saginaw Township schools bathrooms.
Mm.
That was a pretty hard situation because it was reports of various schools in Saginaw, and my daughters went to these schools. So I did report it instantly. Multiple agencies responded to these schools. Luckily, it was a hoax,
Mm.
but I think people should know what's going on because of previous situations that happened in other states where I felt like things could have been better. Maybe putting it out there could prevent something like that from happening or a tragic situation. Hopefully, we never have to deal with that. But I think everybody should be aware.
It sounds like a healthier coping mechanism that you're doing
Yeah,
with this platform. So sounds like you're trying to build a news station from this or a news company from
yeah,
breaking news.
for sure,
Okay.
definitely.
I'm with it. I'm definitely with it. So is that what we're expecting in your next chapter? Anything else from Ryan?
Um, I want to kind of hopefully give back to the community. Eventually, I know I kind of deal with a lot of mental health calls, hearing them. So there's quite a few. Some people. I can't say what exactly they're going through, but I've heard a lot of people that are ready to not, make it another day. And I think the holidays are hard for people.
Yeah.
There's so many people that struggle with so many things. It could be, money wise. It could be maybe the holidays just aren't for them. But I hear it so much, and that's why kind of giving back, and even a lot of local businesses help give back. It's helping a lot of people because a lot of these people might not have a gift to give to their kids or might not
Hmm.
be able to go out and do something. So to do a lot of things and connect with a lot of local businesses to give back is awesome because some of these families, they're like, we haven't did anything all year, and to be able to give them an opportunity to do something for free
So
is
explain a little bit. What are you doing when you're connecting with businesses?
so kind of what I can kind of do is, I use my social media presence as a way to give them free advertisement. So
Okay.
they get their business or event out there, and then sometimes I can either get a discount or I can get free access to, events. So they might give me, 10, 20 tickets to give out for free.
Mm.
And then I present their business out there. They get a lot of advertisement, a lot of people that didn't know about it. So like you may see, an event that you're like, I never even knew about it. You may go, they get business, and then they also, give back. So it's a win. And
Oh,
then the
wow.
people that get to go, it's a win for them because now they're going to experience something.
Mm.
So it's kind of like a trade off, it's like because I don't do any advertising. You don't see any ads on my, like, I don't charge businesses or
That
anything.
was honestly that was
You
coming to
know,
my head. I'm
ma-
like, wait, this could
yeah.
be the move to get out the
Yeah.
9 to 5.
Yeah, maybe in the near future,
Yeah.
I might do, an ad here and there, but right now I just kind of used it as a way. I started kind of giving away some gifts, gift cards and stuff. I give away pizzas all the time. People think I probably, like get paid by Little Caesars, but I don't. I literally pay for myself. I've actually been blocked on the app because they're thinking like some fraud's going on because I order from all these different locations because I have people pick them up. But I know little things help people out, and it could just be a meal. Maybe people, I've did an event where they were giving away Thanksgiving dinners, so I spent my Thanksgiving to give away hundreds of meals with local community
Mm.
people that did set this up, and it was awesome to see so many happy people just to get a Thanksgiving dinner, and just little things like that. I feel like are reasons for people to realize they're not forgotten. I actually did. I purchased hundreds of Christmas cards just the other day, and I contacted my daughter's school, Arrowwood and Westdale, and I says, "Hey, can you guys have all the students make up some, messages, draw some stuff in these cards, and actually, I'm gonna go pick them up when I leave here, and I'm gonna go pass them out
Wow.
to some nursing homes because I think like a lot of them people are." They're forgotten, they don't have family or the family maybe is far away,
Mhm.
and just little things that I think that everybody could do, like walking out of a store telling somebody have a good day. That might give somebody a reason to really like open up, like, wow, I'm gonna have a good day now.
It's all
Mind over matter.
spreading love, even though you're doing this breaking news that may had or have some, different opinions about it, but you're doing so much good and positive from it. And
Yeah.
I love what I'm hearing. So we're gonna
Yeah.
talk off camera because I think you should start doing some advertising.
Okay. For sure.
No,
And
no,
and
but that's
and I
really
see
good.
too like a lot of other big platforms. Like there's a Zachary, I don't know his last name, but he has people donate enough to give people houses.
Oh,
And
wow.
like there's just amazing people out
Is
there
that a
that
goal for you? Like, is that
yeah,
something you
like
want to do too?
I
Yeah.
would hope I could earn enough to give back like that,
Mm.
or to change people's lives. That would be
Right.
amazing to me, to give back. I'm the kind of person that if I won the lottery, I would like to help a lot of people. I'm not the person that would just rather have it sit in my bank account.
Mhm.
I obviously I want enough to survive myself, but I want to help as much people as I can too because everybody needs it. Like yesterday, I told people to pull up at a gas station, and I filled a whole bunch of tanks up with gas just
Wow.
randomly. So it's I would like to do a lot more, but I'm gonna do as much as I can, and I
Mhm.
hope others people return the favor to others because we all can help each other.
This was awesome. This was so good. And I thank you so much for joining me on this platform. Before we end, let the people know, what does being a healthier you, what does that mean today?
That means taking care of yourself mentally and physically. So that means taking a moment to actually sit down and reflect on yourself, reflect on things that you can do to better yourself. Because I always tell myself, I'm not perfect. I don't ever want to be perfect. I know there's flaws in me. I know there's things I could do better. As long as I work on them and see ways to improve uh, situations that, I would probably do differently years ago, I do differently today. And I think just never taking anything for granted, enjoy every moment you have, like day by day, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So definitely enjoy it. Take a day off if you can, take a little break, see your family, friends, check on everybody, because life is too short.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank
This
you.
was good. Thank you.
Well, thank you.